Daily Trust News Center. This is the News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, suspected terrorists kidnap retired colonel and his 2 children in Zamfara as bandits shoot one, abduct couple in residence of late Emir of Jere. Wike mocks Atiku over Obasanjo's endorsement of Peter Obi. Borno State government reintroduces intrastate night travels. And on the foreign scene, Pope Benedict's body lies in state at St. Peter's Basilica ahead of Thursday's funeral. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. Compliments of the season. I am Eugenia Abu. Now the details. Suspected terrorists have reportedly kidnapped a former commandant of the Zamfara State Road Traffic Regulatory Agency, Zarota, Colonel Rabiu Garba, retired, and 2 of his children along Gusau Safe Road in Zamfara State. A resident of the troubled community said the victim was returning to his country home at Yandoto with his 2 children on the 1st of January when the terrorists attacked. Confirming the incident, the State Police Public Relations Officer, Superintendent of Police Muhammad Shehu, has confirmed the incident and says tactical operatives on rescue operation in the surrounding bush have been mobilized to ensure the rescue of the 3 kidnapped victims unhurt. In the meantime, bandits have raided the private residence of the deceased Emir of Jere, Dr. Saad Usman, abducting a man identified as Husseini alongside his wife and their 4-month-old baby. The woman, however, later escaped with her child as they were being led by the bandits to raid another house in the area. The Jere Emirate Council Secretary Malam Aliyu Zubair confirmed the incident. He said 6 people were abducted in the area based on the information at his disposal. He also said the bandits invaded the late Emir's private residence a little after 10 on the night of Sunday and abducted 1 person before proceeding to a neighbor's house where they whisked away 5 people, escaping before the police arrived. Vigilantes who had tried to engage the bandits were overpowered because the terrorists had more sophisticated weapons. In the meantime, terrorists Monday morning attacked a police snipping point in Jibia local government area of Katsina State, during which one of the terrorists was killed. 2 policemen who sustained injuries in the encounter have been treated and have been discharged. The spokesman for the Katsina State Police Command, Superintendent Gambo Isa, confirmed the development. He said the incident occurred around 4:30 a.m. at Magama Hirji Junction along Katsina Jibia Road. According to him, the terrorists had stormed the police snipping point in large numbers, adding that the bravery and professional display by the operatives at the nipping point made them to repel the attack, also killing a member of the terrorist gang in the encounter. He also revealed that the police recovered 1 AK-47 rifle, cash, and other exhibits from the scene. Abdullahi Yamadi gives an update on the incident.
Around 2:30 a.m. this Monday morning, bandits attacked police checkpoint between Magamar Jibia and Hirji Junction, where the police were able to neutralize a mastermind of attack and killing of DPO Jibia in recent times. His name is Ibrahim Tangau. And the police were also able to neutralize his younger brother, popularly known as Oris. The attack was masterminded by Ibrahim Tangau himself, and these people specialized in launching attacks, killing people, robbing people, especially along Jibia, Batari, Safanada, Musa Agdis. So according to police, when I contacted the police public relations officer, Katsina Command, he said 2 of the police officers that were there were also wounded, and of course they are responding to treatment. Alongside Ibrahim Tangao and Oris, there are 6 other members of his gang who were also neutralized this morning. So according to the police, it's a very good story. It's a success story to them, and the rest of the members of the gang who escaped with gunshot wounds are being trailed by the police with a view to arresting them and prosecute them accordingly.
Abdullahi Yamadi reporting from Katsina. In another development, Governor Aminu Tambuwal of Sokoto State has vowed to prosecute the attackers of his motorcade on Sunday. Thugs had pelted the governor's motorcade with stones in the state capital while he was returning from a campaign tour of Silame and Wamako local government areas of the state. 2 vehicles in the fleet were damaged by the attackers. Governor Tambuwal told journalists at the close of a stakeholders meeting with political appointees on Monday that some of the attackers had been arrested and will soon be prosecuted. The governor stressed that the culture of violence would not be condoned in Sokoto State, as a fragile peace in the state could not be toyed with. State Commissioner for Information, Akibu Dalhatu, at a separate press briefing explained that the leader of the attackers, Abu May Ada, was one of those apprehended. The commissioner said May Ada, who has been on the watch list of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps in the last 3 months, not only destroyed some vehicles in the governor's convoy, but also stole 5 motorcycles after attacking PDP supporters at the campaign ground in Wamako. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike says former President Olusegun Obasanjo's recommendation of Peter Obi to Nigerians for the 2023 presidential election indicates that the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, is a bad sell. Governor Nyesom Wike, who spoke at a flag-off of a road project in Emoha local government area of the state, said that a bad product would always be difficult to market, which is why the former president did not recommend Atiku, whom he had worked with. The Rivers State Governor also took a swipe at those accusing him and Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State of frustrating the microzoning of the presidential ticket of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to Southeast. Wike noted that he attended all meetings convened by Southern governors of the All Progressives Congress, APC, People's Democratic Party, PDP, and other parties where it was agreed that the presidency should come to the South. He, however, pointed out that while cross-party consultations were going on, some people in the PDP conspired to frustrate the eventual zoning of the party's presidential ticket to the South. The Rivers State Governor specifically accused Atiku of buying the PDP nomination form to circumvent the recommendations of the zoning committee. Meanwhile, spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Senator Dino Melaye, said Governor Wike should be ashamed that he has constantly solicited the attention of Atiku by his continuous disrespect and unwarranted insult of a man who did nothing to him. Melaye said Atiku's only crime is that he won a transparent presidential primary. Trust TV spoke earlier to Geoff Ojinka, Labour Party House of Representatives candidate for Orlu, Osu, Oru East Federal Constituency on the former president's endorsement of Peter Obi.
This was a New Year gift to Nigerians. If you go through the 6-page document, he did a very careful, intensive analysis and projection for the future Nigeria, the Nigeria of our dream. In fact, 2023 is a watershed year for this country. It's a year for the country to be, because as he says, that we have from the top of the mountain to the valley point. So we really need to get back again. Well, the 2019 election has come and gone. The 2019 election is not the same as the 2019 election. There was no beavers. You know, that election was a matter of litigation. And at the end of time, Supreme Court ruled that the electronic system of was not reflected in the Electoral Act and in the Constitution. Because of that, they threw out the case before the court. They didn't go into the merits and have gone into the merits and demerits of the matter. That election may not stand. And you know what happened during that election? They had to remove or not. They had to bring in, Tanko Mohammed as the support justice of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And all those things had to be done. I tend to rely on performance. The National Assembly House of Reps between 2003 to 2007, during his I performed creditably well. The Onitsha Owerri roads that I was able to pass through my constituency, the Ihiala to Umuduru roads that I got completed, the refund for the Olosina roads, the critical projects, the critical power projects, and the track record of credible public service, I think, is what I need to rely on, and the trust that have in me. As for my chances, I think my people have a lot of confidence in me, and that I can never fail them, and I play with them to also second chance. And I think by the grace of God, election of women.
Jeff Ojenika of the Labour Party. Members of the All Progressive Congress in Osun State have resolved to work together to ensure victory for candidates of the party in the forthcoming general elections. Former Governor Adegboyega Oyetola charged APC members to work for the victory of presidential candidate of the party, Bola Tinubu, and his running mate, Kashim Shettima. Oyetola appealed to all aggrieved members of the party in the state to bury the hatchet and work together so that Osun State could deliver 1 million votes for Tinubu and Shettima. It will be recalled that members of the party loyal to former Governor and Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, had declared cessation of hostilities and returned to the mainstream APC. The spokesperson of the party in the state, Kola Olabisi, confirmed that members of the party in the state were now on the same page.
I think the unity of the party, APC in Osun State, should not be a subject of contention again, because everything needed to be done. You understand? So in that regard, so it's been done. Like if you can still cast your mind back during the response of the APC towards how to end the hostility in the party then. You understand? All the members of whoever has a grouse, with the party that had left or has been doing 2 months, was asked to go back to the world, to go and associate, to report himself, you understand, to the world leader.
Kola Olabisi speaking for APC in Osun State. As Nigeria marks another election year and ushers in the much expected and critical general elections in the country, Nigerians are optimistic and hopeful that the election would be an opportunity to elect a credible leader that would reposition the country and set it on the right path. Matia Umar reports that despite a myriad of social challenges, Nigerians have high expectations.
In 2022, Nigeria faced myriads of problems in the economy, security, education, and other sectors. As the nation heads to the poll this year, The next set of leaders are expected to perform optimally to ensure Nigeria returns to its glory days. Electorates are seeking a free, fair, and credible elections in the coming weeks. And for Zipporah Nwachukwu, a young civil engineer who will be voting for the first time, said this year's election must not be business as usual.
My expectation is, first, we youth, this election is more important to us because most of us have suffered a lot. There are some that are fortunate to graduate and have work, but there are some ones that are not fortunate. So it's as if they are lazy, but they have not been given the opportunity. So all of us should come out, vote the right person. Don't collect money. Don't sell your vote. Do the right thing. Don't follow maybe what Zipporah is telling you to do. You know what you want and you know your expectation, because all of us have prayed, I want the 2022, 2023 to be a good year for us. But it cannot be a good year if we keep doing the same thing.
On their part, for elections to be credible, the electoral umpire has to be ready. As such, we're calling on INEC to do the needful.
What I want to tell INEC is that they should make sure they fulfill their promises and make sure that the vote is count so that there won't be any issue after the election.
What I just want the INEC to do is that they should be fair in handling the election, and there should be no manipulation of result in any other way.
So I wouldn't say I have a preferred candidate. I just hope whoever wins tends to do the needful, and maybe the country should go to greater height. Well, everybody has his or her own responsibility. We, the electorate, we have our own responsibility. The INEC has her own responsibility, which is to make the whole process free, fair, and credible. The security operatives have theirs as well, which is to keep the whole place devoid of violence and a hitch-free process.
Despite the challenges, they're hopeful for a credible polls, calling on stakeholders to act professionally and impartially. Mardia Umar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Always good to hear Nigeria's views on the expectations on the 2023 elections. A fire outbreak has razed 4 shops in Kano on Airport Road close to France Road in Fagge local government area of the state. This is contained in a statement issued by the Public Relations Officer of the State Fire Service, Saminu Abdullahi, on Monday in Kano. He said the incident occurred on Monday morning. He said the cause of the fire was under investigation. The service has recorded increased incidences of fire outbreaks during the Harmattan season. The Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) has constituted a 9-member ad hoc committee to probe the murder of female lawyer Mrs. Omobolanle Rahim and Jafaru Buraimo, killed by police officers in Lagos. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary, Akorede Habib Lawal, said the association is committed to the pursuit of justice in the case so that no other Nigerian will lose his or her life in an unjust manner the way in which Rahim's life was taken. NBA said since Buraimo's passage, the police authorities have refused to disclose the identity of the killer, demanding immediate disclosure. Consequently, NBA President Yakubu Maikyau, SAN, established an open communication with police authorities over the incident. As part of steps to curb incidences of killings by policemen in Lagos, 3/4 of the personnel serving at the Ajah division have been redeployed to other areas across the state. Confirming the development, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Alabi, explained that the redeployment is a routine movement and those affected are personnel who have spent over 3 years at the division. He added that those affected are deployed to go and deal with the challenges in other areas and get more experience, particularly as the 2023 elections is approaching. The move comes in the wake of reports of alleged extrajudicial killings by officers of the division. Jafaru Buraimo was killed on the 7th of December 2022, and weeks after this, an officer attached to the division allegedly shot and killed Barrister Bolanle Rahim. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up after the break, why essential workers stay at duty posts during the holidays. Do stay with us.
The FCT administration has observed an increase in the influx of street beggars into the city and metropolis. When you give alms directly to street beggars, you encourage this unwholesome practice with its attendant risks to all. Remember, street begging remains banned in the FCT. Residents are encouraged to channel their alms through recognized channels as the churches, mosques, and orphanages. A better approach which still guarantees the reward of your kind gesture, as neither Islam nor Christianity encourages begging. This way, we can rid the city of this menace. To keep Abuja safe is our collective responsibility. Play your part. This message is from the FCT administration.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
A Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Already, if you look at English squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. A recap of our top stories. Suspected terrorists kidnap retired colonel and his 2 children in Zamfara as bandits shoot one, abduct couple in residence of late Emir of Jerry. Wike mocks Atiku over Obasanjo's endorsement of Peter Obi. And moving to more stories now. The Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS Jigawa Command, said it has rescued 6 victims of human trafficking in the state. The Immigration Service Controller in the state, Ahmed Bagari, told newsmen in Dutse on Monday that the victims were rescued by men of the command on Sunday. Bagari, represented by DCI Mohammed Yako, said the victims were rescued in an uncompleted building in Babura town, headquarters of Babura local government area of the state. He explained that the victims, aged between 20 and 35, were intercepted while on their way to Libya en route Niger Republic. The comptroller added that the victims, 5 females and a male, are from Oyo, and Nasarawa states. According to him, none of the rescued victims was in possession of any travel document and no incriminating items were found on them during interrogation. He added that the NIS Comptroller General Idris Jere had directed that the victims be handed over to the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, for further action. Jere also advised parents, guardians, and the general public to desist from sending their children or wards abroad for non-existing greener pastures. As the new year rolls in, Borno State will be restarting night trips and across the state. Governor Babagana Zulum says the resumption of nocturnal journeys will be a litmus test to show that peace has returned to Borno State. Bitrus Kuruti sampled opinions of residents on this development. Here's this report.
Tashan Kano is the second major transit park in Maiduguri metropolis. It's where travelers board commercial vehicles to other parts of Borno State. Musa Banki is one of the many drivers who has conveyed passengers to Biu local government and other places for the past 8 years. He feels the news on the resumption of night trips means more freedom of movement, but advises that government must make the roads safer. It will be a good thing when the road is completely open for us to travel at night. Now that insurgency has reduced, we won't have security problems. This is good news for me, but the government should strengthen security across the roads to ensure safety. Some residents say it will be a new experience as over the years they have become accustomed to morning trips as a result of the insurgency.
Due to the situations now, the situations of these insurgencies is more limited. So maybe if they can improve the security architectures and all these escort and all these securities, maybe they can able to improve it. Maybe people will back on night journey. But for now, we normally used to travel in the daytime to avoid all these risks on the road. Most of people now, they don't get into night traveling journey because of they're saying there is risks when government are saying they improve the security architecture on the road and all these things. But me, I would advise people to travel in the daytime so that to avoid all these problems.
If they start now, night journey,
honestly, me, I don't used to travel in the night because of so many things. Fear and all these things. So I know used to travel in the night.
No, if the road is free, I will be very happy to travel in the night because traveling in the night is so nice. Yes, because you will sleep, you will have fun because it's very nice traveling night. No, they will try about this insurgency situation now. If there's no insurgency, everything will move fine. But if it is with this insurgency, these kidnappers and the rest, we will not be able to travel in the night.
The state government plans to reopen 2 major roads to match its words with action.
The theater commander and all other military establishments will be invited for Borno State government to resume night travels in Borno State. Especially, we'll start in 2 major roads. Maiduguri Kano Road will be opened up to 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. Then Maiduguri Bama Road will be opened up to 10 a.m. And those individuals of Bama local government that don't want to sleep in the Metropolitan Council.
The Borno State government has in the past years deliberately implemented policy decisions that will induce normalcy, including the resettlement of internally displaced persons in megacities. The reintroduction of night travel is another of such policies which demonstrates the political will of the state government to grab peace in the midst of threats of insecurity. Good to see Maiduguri returning to normalcy.
Delta State Police Command has rescued 3 kidnapped victims and recovered 1 locally made gun from the suspected kidnappers in a community in Delta. The information was contained in a statement signed by the State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Bright Edafe. According to the statement, the police operatives attached to Orerokwe Division, who were on visibility patrol duty along Wari Sapele Road by Okuvo and Egborede communities, cited some persons being dragged into the bush. The operatives suspected that the victims may have been kidnapped and therefore trailed the suspected kidnappers into the bush. The hoodlums opened fire on the team, to which the police quickly responded, after which they abandoned the victims and escaped. January is the first month of the year. In Western countries, it is usually considered the second month of winter and the coldest, while in Nigeria, it is the coldest month in the Harmattan season and the transitory period to the hottest season. Most people consider January the longest month in a year, particularly because of monetary choices and the number of bills which must be settled as the new year rolls in. In this report, Noel Sampson examines the mystery behind the month of January.
January is named after the Roman god Janus, known as the protector of gates and doorways, that symbolizes beginnings and endings. Janus is depicted with 2 faces, one looking into the past, the other with the ability to see into the future. However, the man on the street is not concerned with myths. To him, the mystery attached to January is related to money and how very quickly it runs out in the first month.
Concept first, and then the second is the hunger to celebrate December in a special way. I know that all moments are not the same, all seasons are not the same. But when you have it that in December we must kill ourselves, January eventually must be very, very long.
Me, I be businesswoman. So salary for January, I do no like to sell market. People know to buy our market. So because of no pay, nobody like to spend money. Or December time like this, they don't waste money, do many things.
What is the reason behind the January mystery? Is it a mystery at all or just common sense?
Based on the fact that people do not plan well, because everything boils down to planning. As it stands now, a lot of people have traveled and have done a lot of expenses, and when they come back, they are going to face school fees for their children. Some of their house rent to be due, more so utility bills.
So everything you have, you spent them all in December, and just maybe if you're a Christian, 25th and then 31st. Just that 2 days, everything you have gathered for the whole year, you spent it. And then January salary will not come on time. The presence of money does not make the month look very long. Ask people that are rich, they don't tell you January is very long. They don't have time counting like that.
Well, I think the mystery behind it is, usually most of our people, like I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria, during festive period, especially Christmas, we travel home and we do a lot of expenses. And whenever we come back to the city, we find out that the money you're supposed to save for January spending, you've almost spent it on maybe frivolous things.
People have attributed lack of proper planning and excessive spending during Christmas and New Year celebrations as part of the mystery behind the January phenomenon. The long month that seems to be stretched endlessly. The verdict is simple. People should be prudent in spending during festive periods. And just like any other month, where there is excessive spending, there's bound to be a repercussion. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Lessons learned: don't spend everything in December. January is a pretty long month, especially for monetary reasons. Public holidays declared during festive period allow people to rejoice, rest, and socialize with family and friends. Essential workers, however, do not enjoy public holidays because of nature of their jobs. In this report, Trust TV's Bello Musa speaks to an essential worker who is supposed to be celebrating New Year with family, but has remained at his duty post. Here's that report.
Public holidays declared by government covers workers in the employ
of public and private institutions. Though workers stay at home with their families to celebrate Christmas and New Year, but essential workers like Emmanuel Ode, a private guard, is exempted as the nature of his work requires him to be at his duty post even during festive season.
On Christmas Day, I'm in the office. On New Year Day, I'm in the office. On essential duty, you have nothing to object it. Since where I was assigned to be in the office that day, I have to be there to do my civic right as a good citizen of the country. That is why I told you earlier I was there with hunger, not to write anything about. So I was here alone. Make sure I do my work. No water, but I doesn't care about it. Make sure I do what is right at the right time.
Ode said, though he answered leaving, but the economic situation of the country is biting hard on many people like him.
Advice I have to give government, this is the new year. They should try to improve to the life of people, of their people. Because last year is very tough. This year, with the prayer, all things are possible. They will try to listen to the cries of the masses. They are the people who put them for that position. They should not neglect them. Because I expect this year shall be greater than the last year. But last year, nothing we can write about.
While hoping for better days ahead, Ode called on the government to do more in order to alleviate the sufferings of the common man. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be back after the break. Do stay.
That's great.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. We go straight to business, where the Debt Management Office, DMO, has announced as its first bond issuance for 2023, offering 2 federal government of Nigeria FGN savings bonds for subscription. A statement on Monday from the DMO explained that the first offering was a 2-year FGN savings bond due in January 11, 2025, at the interest rate of 9.600% per annum. The second is a 3-year FGN savings bond due in January 11, 2026, at the interest rate of 10.600% per annum. The DMO said that the opening date would be the 3rd of January and the closing date would be the 6th of January. The settlement date is January 11th, while coupon payment dates would be April 11th, July 11th, October 11th, and January 11th, 2024. The DMO said that FGN savings bonds qualified as securities in which trustees could invest under the Trustee Investment Act. It noted that the bonds were backed by the full faith and credit of the federal government of Nigeria and charged upon the general assets of a country. And now to the international scene, the lying in state of former Pope Benedict, who died Saturday at the age of 95, began Monday in St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City ahead of his funeral later this week. A statement by the Vatican said the body of the former Pope was moved from the monastery to St. Peter's Basilica on Monday morning, where it was laid out for the faithful to bid farewell. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni and President Sergio Mattarella were among those to pay their respects as Benedict lay in state. According to the director of the press office of the Holy See, Matteo Bruni, Benedict's funeral will be held at 9:30 a.m. local time on Thursday in St. Peter's Square in Vatican City. The funeral will be led by Pope Francis, noting that in line with Benedict's wishes, his funeral will be simple. Benedict was known to be more conservative than his successor, Pope Francis, who has made moves to soften the Vatican's position on abortion and homosexuality, as well as doing more to deal with the sexual abuse crisis that has engulfed the Church in recent years and clouded Benedict's legacy. Malawi has delayed the opening of public schools in its 2 major cities of Blantyre and Lilongwe, the health minister said on Monday, to try to slow down a surge in cholera deaths. According to the Ministry of Health, the total number of cases has surged to 17,824 and the number of deaths to 595 since cases were first reported in March, with the mortality rate increasing to 3.34%. Cholera is an annual problem during Malawi's rainy months from November to March, when the number of deaths is around 100 a year. But the current outbreak is expected to be the worst yet. The United Nations Health Agency says fatality rates are rising in about 30 countries around the world that reported cholera outbreaks in 2022, about a third higher than in a typical year. The Israeli army has killed 2 Palestinian men during a raid on a village near the city of Jenin in the northern occupied West Bank. The Palestinian Ministry of Health said Mohammed Samir Hoshieh, 22, and Fuad Mohammed Abed, 25, were shot dead early on Monday in Kufr Dan, northwest of Jenin. At least 3 others were injured during the raid, including 1 in critical condition. Israeli forces said in a statement that they had been conducting operations in Kufr Dan to demolish the homes of the 2 men and said that they had been attacked with gunfire, rocks, and firebombs. Confrontations and armed clashes broke out with Israeli forces late on Sunday night after they raided Kufr Dan to demolish the homes of 2 Palestinians killed in a shootout at an Israeli military checkpoint in Jenin that led to the killing of an Israeli soldier, Bafala, several months ago. You're watching NewsHour on Trust TV. We take another break now. Do stay with us.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130...
Treated a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men
with blood.
This is the road leading up to the
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
Welcome back. And in sports, Brazilians bid a final farewell this week to football giant Pelé, starting Monday with a 24-hour public wake at the stadium of his longtime team, Santos. The oceanside home of the team is expecting a huge influx of fans looking to honor the king of football, who died aged 82 on Thursday after a long battle with cancer. Stadium doors have opened at 10 a.m. earlier, local time. The coffin bearing the remains of the only player to have won 3 World Cups will be displayed in the center of the field, known as Vila Belmiro, after the neighborhood where it is located. The black and white stadium has a capacity of 16,000 people. Entry to the stadium will be allowed until 10 a.m. Tuesday. After that, a procession will be held through the streets of Santos, a port city about 75 kilometers from the state capital, Sao Paulo. The parade will pass the house of Pelé's mother, 100-year-old Celeste Arantes, who is unaware that her world-famous son has died. We now join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
Preparations for the 2023 African Youth Games built to take place in Congo-Brazzaville are in top gear. This followed the approval from the General Assembly of the Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa, ANOCA, that was concluded in Seoul, South Korea. The African Youth Game is a multi-sport event held every 4 years as a prelude to the Summer Youth Olympics, with the last held in 2018. The competition is targeted at young African athletes of 14 to 18 years, featuring in over 30 sporting events. Nigeria has participated in the last 2 editions in Gaborone and Algiers, where they improved their medals tally in between the 2 games. And in cycling, Nigerian elite female cyclists ranked top in individual sprint, carrying 500-meter time trials, team sprint, and team pursuit event. Egypt, on the other hand, led in omnium, scratch, and 3-kilometer pursuit, while South Africa are top in the point race. Nigeria progressed 12 steps in the world ranking in the elite sprint from 32nd position in 2019 to 20, 33rd in 2019 to 20 in the elite female carrying event, and also jumped 19 steps in the elite female 500 meter from 38th in 2019 to 11th. Nigerian junior female cyclists led the rest of Africa in 3 and placed second in 5 after the 10 events considered. That's Sport News. I am Adeni Ajishafe.
Always gives so much joy when we see Nigerians leading the pack. Thank you so very much, Adeni Ajishafe, for Sports Update. Before we go, here is a kicker. A team at Wildlife Works is calculating the carbon stock at Kasigao corridor in efforts to conserve the forest. Take a look.
Kasigao corridor is a corridor because it links between the southwest and the southeast. It was a migration route for the animals, and it is still a migration route. So we are in between. We are sandwiched between the 2 servos. So hapo. My role is to go out there in the field, do carbon measurements on the trees and the ecosystems. We also do biodiversity stuffs, in terms of collecting data and monitorings. Right now we are heading to close to Chumambili. We have a plot there. It's a biomass plot. That's where we're going to measure and record the data.
First one, 7.2, 14.9,
14.9.
Second trunk, 2.7.
We have plot coordinates. So the plot coordinates we feed on this GPS. And sometimes some of the plots are very far, and sometimes where we can find some plots which are close by. But so we move out using our vehicles up to where our GPS will read a point of 0. When we reach to that point, then we thump in our metal center. Then we stretch out our tape on a northward direction using our magnetic compass. Then we measure each and every tree going clockwise, depending on the radius of the plot. As the tape stretches, that will be our starting line. Then we'll be moving on a clockwise direction. .7 meters.
Center.
Center, 14.1.
Stop.
After measuring each and every tree, we have to tag it for our monitoring purposes.
This is number one.
We do biomass plots. We start with our magnetic north, and we normally use magnetic north. And so this is where our 5-meter point is. So from this point, we just start with either direction, either right or left, 2 meters. Then we make a square plot. Then we harvest all the herbaceous vegetation within that square plot. Then we measure it.
Taking carbon stock at Kirasagao Forest, technology, research, and data. A good way to go. And with that, we have come to the end of the Trust TV News Hour tonight. Also, don't forget to follow us across all our media platforms. I wish you a really successful and bright and beautiful 2023. I am Eugenia Abu. Thank you for watching.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.